many of us share. This nagging sense that something in our world today is just fundamentally off. And that leads to a really crucial question. Is the power to change things out there in all the world's systems? Or is it closer to home, inside the system in our own heads?
I mean, does this hit home for you? It really does for me. We were promised this incredible world of progress, of opportunity. We have more information, more connection, more everything than at any point in history, and yet, so many of us feel completely trapped by it all.
And that right there, that's the core question we are digging into. Is this feeling of disconnect just some kind of bug in the system, a personal failing? Or could it actually be a deliberate feature of the world we've all inherited?
Okay, let's talk about that feeling, the invisible cage. We have more convenience than any generation before us, but we're also seeing these record-breaking levels of burnout and loneliness. It's this wild paradox, isn't it? We are literally surrounded by modern miracles, but somehow we've just become more numb.
Just think about it. Think about the modern grind. It feels like the world has been built around an economy, right? Not around humanity. We're basically conditioned to work, spend what we earn on things we need to keep working, and then get right back to work again. It's this endless cycle of production and consumption that, well, it can leave very little room for actually living.
So the point is, this feeling isn't just in your head. There are real external systems, governmental, corporate, media structures that have been designed over time to shape how we all think and behave. So let's take a look at how some of these systems were actually built.
Systemic deception, it's really not a new thing. As you can see from this timeline of events, all of which are now declassified, by the way, the official story has often been manufactured to achieve very specific goals. We're talking about everything from influencing the media to justifying entire wars. It's a clear pattern that proves what we're told, well, it isn't always the whole story.
Now, what's really fascinating is the philosophy behind these kinds of actions. There's this concept from Machiavelli called effectual truth, and it basically argues that for people in power, what matters isn't the promise or the morality of it all. What matters is the practical outcome. The result is the only truth that really counts.
And that brings us right up to today, where the tools of control are just way more subtle. Language itself gets weaponized. For instance, there's a 1967 CIA memo that actually advised popularizing the term conspiracy theorist just to dismiss anyone who dissented. Algorithms keep us outraged because anger drives clicks and engagement. And we're given this illusion of choice, endless products to buy, which is a great distraction from the lack of real freedom in the actual structure of our lives.
So if the systems we live in often feel broken, if they feel inefficient, stressful, confusing, just consider this for a second. Maybe they're not broken at all. Maybe they're working exactly as intended, designed to maintain control by keeping us scrambling for solutions inside the cage they built.
Okay, that was a pretty heavy look at the external systems. But now we're going to make a huge pivot. We're going to turn inward to the internal system, the one you actually have complete control over. This is about the power you've always had.
This simple sentence is what a guy named Earl Nightingale called the strangest secret. It's this simple but incredibly profound truth that has been repeated by thinkers for centuries. The things you focus your mind on, day in and day out, will eventually become your reality. It is the fundamental law of our own internal operating system.
And this is just a brilliant way to illustrate that concept. Your mind is like a garden. It's fertile soil, and it doesn't care what you plant. It could be success or failure, a clear goal, or just total confusion. But whatever seed you plant, whatever thought you let take root, it will grow and return to you in abundance.
Nightingale's research found this absolutely startling statistic. Out of 100 people who start out at age 25, all believing they're going to be a success, only 5 of them actually make it by age 65. And the single biggest difference wasn't talent, it wasn't luck, it wasn't their background. It was that the successful ones had clear, defined goals. They knew exactly where they were aiming their mental energy.
So, okay, how do you actually harness this power? Well, here's one practical technique. It's from the Silva method, and it's for entering a super-focused meditative state that's known as the alpha state. It's really just a method for deliberately shutting down all the external noise so you can direct your mind, your internal system, toward a very specific outcome that you want.
And ultimately, this is the big takeaway. Your mind is this vast source of power and energy. You can either let it run wild, controlled by all the external chaos, or you can grab the wheel and direct that incredible power toward a specific, worthwhile purpose.
All right, so now we have these two powerful, competing realities, right? The external system that is designed to control you, and the internal system that you can learn to control. So, where do you put your focus?
This is the choice, right here. Do you focus on the brutal reality that power's first instinct is always its own survival? Or do you focus on the optimistic view that the future is ultimately built by those who can imagine and work toward a better one? The tricky part is, both are true, in their own way.
But maybe the answer isn't choosing one reality over the other. This concept of protopia offers a kind of middle path. It's not about achieving some perfect problem-free utopia. No, it's just about making things 1% better today than they were yesterday. It sees the world's problems, sure, but it frames them as opportunities for slow, steady progress.
And this is really where we land. Yes, absolutely, the external world is filled with complex systems trying to influence how you think and act. Acknowledging that isn't paranoia, it's just awareness. But the single most powerful system you will ever encounter is your own mind. And that is the one system you can truly, truly master.
So the final question really is for you. Every single day, you're faced with two powerful systems. One of them seeks to program you. The other, you can learn to program yourself. Which one is going to get your focus? Which one will you choose to master?
Let's get right into it. We're going to explore a feeling that I think so many of us share. This